everyone, welcome back to Get Your Mind Right Barbecue. I'm Tommy D. Thanks for tuning in. Well, last week I brought you some Southern style baked beans. And since we're on the sides, the barbecue sides, I'm going to create a section on my YouTube channel just for sides for barbecues and such. I already have a few on there that you can go back and check yourself. But when you think of barbecue sides, or you go to any barbecue restaurant here in the Southeast or throughout our wonderful country, there's always two sides that always stick out. It's baked beans and coleslaw. And today I'm going to show you how I do my spin on coleslaw. It's your Get Your Mind Right Southern style coleslaw, and I can't wait for you to try this dynamite recipe. Now do me a favor, before we get into this delicious coleslaw recipe, subscribe to my channel. Click my little icon down here in the right corner. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified when my latest videos drop. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Please subscribe. I hope you're enjoying it. This coleslaw is a traditional Southern style coleslaw. It has that sweetness, has a little tang from the apple cider vinegar. You can find this coleslaw all throughout the Southeast. This coleslaw will work great at your family fish fry this summer. Okay, let's get into this delicious coleslaw recipe. You got to start off with some good cabbage. Now, if you want to use a fresh head of cabbage and you have a food processor that can speed it up, or if you want to knuckle bust, by all means go for it. But when you're outside barbecuing, you got friends over, I like to enjoy my time outside, so I'm not really going to go and get a head of cabbage and shred it up myself when you can get it at the grocery store already pre-shredded up for you, and it's super cheap and super easy to do this recipe this way. Today we're using a Southern slaw. This is Chef Buddy's. This is under $2 per bag, folks. Very inexpensive. This Chef Buddy's coleslaw is super fine. And today we're doing some burgers and some dogs, and I'm gonna be making some good old slaw dogs. With this finer coleslaw, it just seems to go better on top of the dogs. Now, if you're doing barbecue sandwiches, pulled pork sliders, a traditional style barbecue, you have the shredded style as well. Both of these type of cabbage and coleslaw mix goes well with this dressing that we're going to be making here today. Let's make our dressing for our coleslaw. If you want my opinion and you're making coleslaws or you're making anything that involves mayonnaise, you got to use good old original Duke's. And first things first, we're using 3/4 cup of good old Duke's mayonnaise. Now I'm just going to add this to any mixing bowl or any bowl Tupperware works. Make sure you scrape all that good old Duke's out of there. Okay, next up is a 1/4 cup of good old white sugar. Nothing fancy about it. Just add it right to your bowl. Next up, apple cider vinegar. You got to add a little bit of tang to cut that sweetness out. And today we're using 2½ tablespoons of good old apple cider vinegar. 1 teaspoon of salt. 1 teaspoon of fresh ground black pepper, and a 1/4 teaspoon of celery seed. You can get this just about anywhere in the spice section at your local grocery store. The celery seed adds a lot of good flavor to the coleslaw. Basically, I've never added it to anything else besides coleslaw. I think celery seed was made for coleslaw. Last but not least, I like to kick it up a notch. I like to add 1 teaspoon of your favorite barbecue rub. And today, I'm using Meat Church Holy Gospel. This rub's got a little sweetness to it. It's got some savoriness to it. It tastes fantastic. And it's going to add a lot of those barbecue flavors and incorporate it into your coleslaw. And it's going to add a nice little color to the coleslaw itself as well. Now, if you don't want to use a barbecue rub, you can use an all-day, everyday rub or a garlic, salt, pepper rub. If you're doing like a fish fry, that works great too. Now that we got everything combined in our mixing bowl, we're just going to give it a good mix. Incorporate all those flavors. You can certainly smell that apple cider vinegar. And you just want to give this a good whip with your whisk or a spoon and make sure it's combined up. You got some grains in there with this salt, pepper, the sugar, and that barbecue rub. You want to kind of break that down and let all those flavors incorporate with one another before you add it to your coleslaw. Okay, now that we got our coleslaw dressing ready to go, it's time to add the coleslaw. Now these bags approximately come in 14 to 16 ounce varieties, okay? And this dressing is made for one bag of coleslaw. If you want to double this up, or you only want to do half, just split the ingredients in half. Or if you want to double it up, just double it up. Let's add our slaw. You can add it right to the bowl, or I'll show you what I do to make it super simple and easy. You know, you can just put this in there and stir it up with your dressing, but I like to add the cabbage inside a 2.5 gallon Ziploc baggie. That way you can just store this and throw it into the fridge. Add your dressing to the baggie. You can mix it up with your hands and it's good to go. Just pour it into your serving tray or your bowl or whatever you're serving it in. All right, now that I got our coleslaw in this 2.5 gallon Ziploc baggie, let's add our dressing to it. Make sure you open this big boy up so you don't lose any of your dressing. Super easy, folks, with these baggies. Just pour it in. Make sure you scrape it all in there because a lot of that salt, that pepper, and those spices is going to go down to the bottom. Simple as that. Next step, I like to get all the air out of the baggie and give it a good mix. Give it a good toss. Super simple. I love doing it in these baggies. These 2.5 gallon Ziploc baggies are good if you're making a big batch of coleslaw too. I could do up to 3, maybe 4 bags of slaw into this one and make a big batch of our dressing. So I love using these baggies. Now, let's get it into the refrigerator and let it sit. It's very important to let this coleslaw sit in the refrigerator at a minimum of 3 hours. That way the flavors come together. That sugar, that apple cider vinegar, all those flavors are going to come together while it's sitting in that refrigerator. It's going to taste a lot better if you let it sit a little bit longer. You can go up to a full day. This will last in your refrigerator as far as leftovers for quite a few days as well. Coleslaw is a great quarantine food. I can't wait for you to try this. Let's get it in the fridge. All right, it's been in the refrigerator for about 3-4 hours. I put it in my serving dish. It's time to let the big dog eat. Let's try some of this coleslaw. Very, very good. I really like the combo of the tanginess and the sweetness in this coleslaw. It's got that simple Southern style traditional slaw. I can't wait for you to try this out. Next time you're having a barbecue, make sure you try out this coleslaw. You and your friends will not be disappointed. If you saw me last week, I made a bean dog. Well, today I'm making a slaw dog. So I just add a little slaw on top. Let's get a pull off this slaw dog here. This coleslaw that's been chopped up real nice and fine is great for these hot dogs. I just grew up on this type of slaw. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can make good barbecue too, just like Tommy D can. All you gotta do is get your mind right. Let's get another pull here, babe, too.